Hey, come here. Hey, man, you almost missed it. I got your seat right next to me. Hey, be careful with that popcorn. Stop stepping on people's shoes. Just sit down right here. Fam, thank God you made it. You at the movies with Pete McCorvey. Oh, shh, it's starting. Hey, y'all, what's going on? This your country cousin, Pete McCorvey, a.k.a. Petey Mac, and welcome back to the movies with your boy once again. Hey, man, June 21st marked the official beginning of summer. Yes, the summer solace is June 21st, and we here. We done made it to summer, so everybody is going to be outside, traveling, partying, just living their best life. But you know, on those days where it do get too hot, or just one of them nights you just winding down from partying, or if you go to the park, because they do this a lot at the park, still good time to watch some movies. Because, you know, if you go to the park, like in big cities, or maybe mid-major cities, maybe some small cities, they do something called On the Green. Or you could go to the drive-in, because I know people don't be trying to go to drive in the winter months, because, you know, you got to turn your car off, and it'll get... I'd rather be hot and can have my windows down versus being cold and have my windows down. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, it's a lot of good movies. And so, with it being summertime movies, you know, there's a lot of movies that are just themed for the summer. And especially in the 90s. And a lot of these movies that was themed for summer was themed for summer vacation. And a lot of them was themed for summer camps. And I'm going to get into it with my first movie. I'm going to do a couple movies about summer camps. And all the movies I'm going to do are going to be dealing with summer vacation. But the first movie I'm going to do is going to be Summertime Switch. If you're an 80s baby, a 90s kid, you know this movie. Disney Channel used to wear this shit out every summer like BET used to do with Baby Boy back in the day. But the only difference was I enjoyed every time this movie came on. I enjoyed Baby Boy every time it come on. Now, this movie came out during the 90s summer camp craze that television networks and movie studios were pushing. There was like a summer camp program they were pushing heavy. You know, it started in 1990, at the beginning of the decade, with the television movie Camp Cucamonga, which had an all-star cast, which featured Jennifer Aniston from Friends, y'all know her from Friends, and Jaleel White, a.k.a. Steve Urkel from Family Matters, or Urkel, as a lot of people call it. Because you know, a lot of people don't even know the show was called Family Matters. They like, oh, you mean the Urkel show? I'm like, no, it's Family Matters. But anyway. And it ended in 2001 with the raunchy teen comedy Wet Hot Summer, which had an all-star cast, which was one of the first times we saw Bradley Cooper. Also featured Amy Poehler and Paul Rudd, just to name a few. Because there's a lot of people in there. So I can't even name them. And I'm going to be honest with you, I can name them unless I tell you what other shit they was in. You be like, ooh, oh, that person from that. So yeah, but it was a star-studded cast too. Now, in between that, they had Disney films. Excuse me, they had films like Disney's Heavyweights and a lesser-known straight-to-video movie, A Pig's Tale. Both of them came out in 1995. And they also had two shows, and I don't give a damn what you say. If you say that these shows did not make you want to go to summer camp, you are a bald-faced lie. Because every time I watch both of these shows, I'm like, damn, I wish I could go to camp. The first one was Nickelodeon, Salute Your Shorts. And the other one was Disney Channel's Bug Juice, which was for us kids. How a lot of us got started reality TV, because boy, they used to give me, boy, the shit they was going through on Bug Juice used to have me in a chokehold. What was it, Sunday night? Every Sunday night? Because I would switch over to that from Nickelodeon, because I remember Nickelodeon used to have Nick News with Linda Ellerman. It's like, yeah, no, let me go watch Bug Juice and end my weekend on a good note. But anyway, I digress. Now, while Summertime Switch is a summer vacation staple, it is not your traditional summer camp movie. Let's get into the particulars about this movie. Summer Camp Switch premiered Saturday, October 8th, 1994 on ABC. It was distributed by ABC. It was a TV movie. It was directed by Alan Metter and written by Patrick J. Clifton. Now, this is where I first saw the movie. I didn't see it in 94 when it came out. I didn't even see it when they did reruns like 95, 96. I didn't even see it in the 90s period. The first time I saw this movie was during the summer of 2004. I didn't even heard the movie before then. I came back from working my summer job with my Uncle Kelly's landscaping company. Me and my brother Grove, we would always watch ABC Family. You remember, now it's Freeform, but once upon a time it was the Family Channel. Then it went to the Fox Family Channel. Then it went to ABC Family. So this is when it was ABC Family. And we would always catch reruns of Family Matters all the time. But one day, I think we either came home too late or came home too early, and this happened to be on. And I sat there and I watched it, and I was like, oh, damn, this is actually a good movie. Because I was shocked, like, oh, that's Shawn from Boy Meets World. Oh, that's Marcus from Smart Guy. And then I'm like, Bull from Night Court? Yeah, I did watch Night Court. I remember I was raised around a lot of old people, so I am familiar with Night Court. But anyway, like I said, the movie stars Jason Weaver, Ryder Strong. That's like I said, that's Shawn from Boy Meets World. Y'all said Jason Weaver's Marcus Henderson from Smart Guy. Barry Williams, that's Greg Brady from the Brady Bunch. I was so shocked when I looked. I'm like, that looked like Greg Brady grown up. Patrick Renner, that's my boy Ham Porter from The Sandlot. Soleil Moon Fry, that's Punky Brewster, or the voice of Zoe from the Proud Family. And Richard Mall, like I said, Bull from Night Court. Now I'm going to get into the synopsis of it. It's an updated reimaging of the classic story, The Prince and the Pauper. It tells the story of Fast Freddie Egan from the South Side, played by Jason Weaver. It was a juvenile delinquent from, like I just said, the South Side. I jumped ahead of myself, y'all, excuse me. And Frederick Egan III, who played by Ryder Strong, a pampered and sheltered offspring of a wealthy property developer, Barry Williams, who ends up at each other's respective camps due to a mix-up. While Fast Fred is enjoying his time at the luxurious Enclave camp for kids of the wealthy, Frederick is trying to survive at Lake Ledford Camp for Boys Juvenile Detention Center. While Fast Freddy tries his best to win the affection of Christine, who's played by Nicole Leach, as well as evade the extortion attempts of camp bully Modem, played by Patrick Renner. With the help of Chef Jimmy, who is played by Richard Mall, while Frederick learns to come out of his shell and look at life through a more broader scope at his time at the detention center. Now, this is my review for it. It's a cliche swap places movie. Well, just like how they were pushing a lot of summer camp content in the 90s, they were also pushing a lot of trade place swapping places content. That was very prevalent in the 90s, like such as one of my favorite movies, Class Act with Kid and Play. You know, It Takes Two with the Olsen twins, and Face Off with Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. However, it still has a charm about it that makes it rewatchable. And it touched on class and race in a subtle way that the viewer got it without insulting them. However, while the acting was good, some of the dialogue was completely stereotypical, and it sounded over the top and sometimes completely unnecessary. The ending was very cliche, but it still was a great fit for a wonderful ending. So, now that I'm an adult, I'm not watching it through kid eyes or nostalgic eyes. Give it a 6.5 out of 10. Now, my personal review. First, let's talk about the acting. You know, Jason Weaver, I just think they looked up and said, we need somebody slick who plays basketball and this girl crazy. What's Jason Weaver doing? Because he played the same role in this that he played earlier in the TV sitcom Thea, that he ended up playing in Smart Guy a couple years later. But the person who gave us a complete 180 with his acting was Ryder Strong, who played Frederick Egan III, because Frederick Egan III was a complete 180 from what I was used to seeing in Shawn Hunter. You know, Shawn Hunter, he poor, he's smooth, and he confident. Frederick Egan was rich, no self-esteem, and just spoiled. And like I said, the first time I saw it, I was like, Shawn being a spoiled brat, I was like taken back. Patrick Renner also did his thing. He showed great range as Modem. Like, he was very believable as a camp bully. Just a little total entitled little white snob who thought the world owed him something, who used blackmail to get what he wanted. Richard Mall also showed range too in there. Like, it was one scene he was talking to Fast Freddy, and it looked like he was about to cry. I'm like, damn, he sold it. Now, it was obvious this movie was geared towards kids, but the way the director told the line with the right amount of, like, prejudice, you know, for, like, race and class, and there, it was well done. It's a cheesy movie, but let's be honest, looking back in the 90s, a lot of things we saw were cheesy. We saw a lot of cheese, but we still enjoy it. We still talk about it online. We still want it on streaming sites. And if I got time to sit down, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch Summertime Switch. So I still enjoyed this movie after all these years. It ain't perfect, but it's good. So my personal review is a 7 out of 10. Now, these are my takes on it. First of all, let's talk about my man, Jason Weaver. Can we talk about how Big Bro was in his bag in 94? He was in his bag. That man was working. Thea, the sitcom starring comedian Thea Vidal, and also co-starred R&B hit singer Brandy, had just finished with his first and only season, which ABC, I don't understand why y'all ain't picked that up for like another 2 seasons. Thea was a good show. He just finished that up early in the year. He was the singing voice of Simba in, at that time, probably the greatest Disney animated movie, The Lion King. And he's still getting paid for that. They shout out to Jason Weaver's mama, because she had a great mind for business. If y'all want to understand what she did to guarantee he still get money, I believe his interview was on Art of Dialogue, where he said that, and it's on some other podcast too, but definitely I remember him saying on Art of Dialogue what she did. Shout out to mom, because she blessed her son with that one. But yeah, he couldn't miss in 94. Now, the second thing I realized about this, I've watched this movie God knows how many times, and it wasn't until I watched it this past week to do this review for you guys that I realized that the head cheer counselor Peggy was Soleil Moon Frye, a.k.a. Punky Brewster. I was like, wait a minute, that's her? Because I saw the name in the cast. I'm like, I didn't know, because her hair's blonde, because y'all know Punky Brewster had dark hair. She's a brunette. But I ain't gonna lie, she ain't look bad with that blonde hair. I ain't gonna lie to you now. If you see Soleil Moon Frye today at 50, she's still tough. She can get the long way, the strong way too. Ooh. Now, I would say this about Patrick Renner. I was talking about he had got good range. This is probably the only role I ever seen him in where I could not stand his ass. I could not stand him as Modem. I didn't understand why Modem didn't really have that much of a posse. It was him and one other kid. As small as Modem was, you know, that's kind of showing that rich kids really don't know how to deal with controversy because everything's been handed to him. They don't know anything about a verse or nothing like that. Because Modem supposed got his ass packed out. He supposed got his ass jumping packed out how he's extorting everybody. But I will say this, though. Modem was ahead of his time with hacking. With hacking online and sports book and all that shit he was doing. He was ahead of his time. So Modem came about maybe 20 years, 30 years later. Modem wouldn't have to extort nobody because shit, Modem could have been putting people on and doing his own thing. Now, I noticed this too when we talk about, like, you know how Jason Weaver always played the slick, fast-talking, basketball-playing, girl crazy dude. I've noticed that Richard Mall always plays the role of moral authority. Y'all ever notice that? In Night Court, even though Bull wasn't that bright, he always the one who kept Harry on his toes about doing the right thing. And he was also, if y'all don't remember, you got to be old like me to remember this. Y'all remember that show that lasted a little bit on Nick and like, what, 99, 2000, 100 Good Deeds for Eddie McDowell? He was like the conscience that always told Eddie, hey, you need to stay on the right track and do what you got to do. So God bless his soul, man. He was in his bag as Jimmy, who kept Fast Freddy on the right track to, hey, you need to do the right thing. You need to tell that girl who the hell you really are. Now, I also want to notice, we talking about people who was like kind of doing their thing in the 90s. The girl who played Christine, Fast Freddy's love interest, whatever happened to her, her name is Nicole Leach, whatever happened to her, she didn't really take off like I thought she would have in the 90s. She was everywhere in the 90s. She was doing everything in the 90s. I'll tell you what she did take off. She took off her top and ran out there like a damn fool doing Bill Cosby's perp walk when they was about to commence his trial years ago. Y'all remember that? If y'all don't know who that woman was, the girl who played Christine, Nicole Leach, that was her crazy ass. She did. I do remember seeing her acting like years later on Chappelle. I think it was season 2. Remember when Dave Chappelle had went for his girlfriend who dumped her and believed he said, hey, I want to marry you and this, that, and the third, and flew her out and be like, bitch, I ain't leaving you. I'm with my family. I'm petty. And luckily they petty too. That was her. But she really didn't take off like I thought that she was going to take off. Now, I noticed this even though I have watched this movie for years. I recently, like I said, watched this for this review. We really didn't see no day-and-day life at the camp. You know, Heavyweight, we saw day-and-day life at the camp. A Pig's Tail, we saw day-and-day life at the camp. Wet Hot Summer, we saw day-and-day life at the camp. We didn't see really day-and-day life at the camp in this movie. I'm just food for thought. And I also want to say this. Disney, y'all own ABC. Everybody knows this. So why, for the love of God, is this and Camp Cucamonga not on Disney Plus? We want to know. Choir minds want to know. Every time I see a post about this, say, everybody remember this movie for the night, I say, man, I can't believe it's not. Where is it streaming at? I don't understand why Disney Plus don't have it, because I ain't gonna lie. Disney, as much as y'all ran this shit on Disney Channel back in the day before y'all acquired ABC, we was under the impression it was a Disney Channel movie. But now since y'all own ABC, I don't see why y'all can't do that, because like Camp Cucamonga was an ABC made-for-TV movie in 1990. So what's going on? Like I said, y'all got Camp Nowhere on there. And we don't hardly ever hear nobody talk about Camp Nowhere. I just found out about Camp Nowhere like last year and watched it. And it didn't hold my interest like this movie. The streets ain't talking about Camp Nowhere, but what the streets are talking about, we talking about Fraz, Freddie, Egan, and Summertime Switch. So then we need y'all to handle that. We need y'all to handle that. Now, I really couldn't find that much trivia on this movie. This is what I could get. And you had to pay attention. They didn't even put this on IMDb. So there's a scene like right after Fast Freddy. He realized it's a mix-up, but he ends up at the Enclave camp. He goes to the little suite he got. And he looks at all the stuff that he ends up getting, got a whole bunch of stuff. And he says, I'm living large like Michael Jackson, which is funny because I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are aware of this. Unless you've been living on the rock. Jason Weaver played the young Michael Jackson in the classic 1992 ABC miniseries Jackson's American Dream. And I didn't know this, so I was under the impression, because it looked like it was shot somewhere in Florida. I thought they probably shot in Orlando, you know. But come to find out, this movie was shot on location, Jacksonville, Florida. Duval! Matter of fact, the introduction sequence to Frederick's character was shot at the Bull School. And if you look during the basketball game that he's playing right before the semester ended, the school name is covered up with a paper banner. Now, a lot of y'all like, damn, what is so insignificant? See, I lived in Jacksonville a couple of summers I was in college with my mom. That school has a rich football tradition. If you pay attention to high school football, you know about Bulls. Like, I think they got 11 state titles. And it's also the alma mater of two people who played a big part of my childhood. One is Lyndon Ashby. If you don't know that name, you definitely know a character he played. That was Johnny Cage in the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie. I was about to say Street Fighter. I don't know why the fuck that came to mind. But anyway, yeah. And also, the alma mater of one of my favorite Atlanta Braves who happened to play quarterback there. Chipper Jones. He went to Bulls. Now, my favorite quote, it's not really my favorite quote. I don't really have a favorite quote from this movie. This one just stuck out to me for years because it was just used so damn wrong. And it was evident that the writer was a white guy trying to appeal to black people when he said it, and it just did wrong. Matter of fact, I didn't say this. A lot of Fast Freddy's dialogue was like, what the fuck? We would never talk like that. And the way he was, and I'm looking at like, and if you look at Jason Weaver, you can see that it's like, yeah, he like, man, what the fuck you got me saying? So, this quote is when the Enclave kids, they're riding somewhere. I think they come in like, they're going out off the campgrounds and they riding back. And while they're riding back, they roll up and see the boys from the camp left for detention camp. And one of the guys tells the bus driver to stop. So him and a couple other kids on the bus, I think Motor was one of them too, they open up the windows and they ask them would they like something to drink. And one of the damn kids, the character Hacksaw, which I thought was stupid of him because they had him as the stereotypical tough guy. So you think he'd be weary to the world. He's like, yeah, I am thirsty, this, that. And they threw a whole bunch of trash and shit on him. Like, looked like old milk or old milkshakes or some melted ice cream, whatever. Which I don't understand why they had all that trash on the bus like that. But anyway. So after that happened, they pull off, they laughing. Freddie gets up and looks at him and said, why you do that? I said, man, what's wrong with you? He said, they just like you. And the kid was like, they ain't like me. He said, what you think? Because you got money, you better than them? He said, at least I got more respect for them than I do for you. And then he said, just came out of nowhere and said, you better raise up. I'm like, the fuck? Let me tell you something. Christine looked impressed by that. She was impressed, but my ass wasn't. Not my black ass. No, I was like, what the hell? You better raise, because that is not how you would use, you better raise up. That was a dead giveaway. I'm like, yeah, the writer's white. Because if you go back and look at a lot of them low-budget movies that came on like Disney Channel or ABC, and you listen, you can be like, yeah. And even TV shows, and a TV show that was a dead giveaway to show me they didn't have not one person of color in their writing room. Family Matters. The episode in particular is the episode where cousin Easy C comes from Detroit to live with them. That episode was a dead giveaway. They ain't got no damn black people in their writers' room. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, that's been my review on Summertime Switch. Now, the next review, I'm going to keep going with summer camp. I mean, it's going to be a summer theme. I'm going to keep it going with the summer camp stuff. My next review is going to be on the 1995 Disney Summer Camp Comedy Classic Heavyweights. And I'm really going to have a good time with this one because I've loved this movie since it came out in 95, and I can still watch it to this day. And it still hit. So I'm really gonna be in my bag for that one, y'all. Y'all gonna enjoy that one. You know, and I'm gonna be able to focus more on this because I'm gave a break to Porch Talk with Pete McCorvey's Porch Talk. That one's, we on hiatus. CISO, we on hiatus until fall comes back. Cause it's summertime and I'm trying to enjoy myself. Like I said on season that I got me a lady friend now, so I got to spend time with her and watch these movies. I can be spending time with her watching the movie to give y'all a review and doing that one. So I just gotta devote this one podcast and doing it because the show don't stop. The show do not stop. It just slow down a little bit. But anyway, man. Y'all want to find me? Y'all can find me on Facebook. Y'all know how to spell my name. It's in the title. Y'all can find me on Instagram, PeteyMac10, PeteyMac10. You can find me on Instagram, PeteyMac89, the same as, I said TikTok. Find me on TikTok. It's PeteyMac89, same as Instagram. Just drop the 1 and the 0 and put an 8 and a 9. PeteyMac89. So, until 2 weeks from now, y'all, be cool, stay calm, get paid. Peace.